Stop putting your money in jail. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why you shouldn't put more than the match in your 401k. Make sure you stay until the end of this video because in this video, I'm going to be talking about some things that you're not going to hear about in many other financial videos on the problems about the structure of the 401k and how it limits you. For those of you tuning into my content for the first time, my name is Pascal and I work with Thrive Wealth Solutions, and essentially what we do is we help people have the time to reach their financial goals by using simple private banking strategies and leveraging their cash appropriately. If you want to learn more about that, I'll link a video at the end that you can watch in detail where it explains the entire concept. So now let's get into this. First off, let's look at what the creator of the 401k said. He said, quote unquote, "I've created a monster." A big reason he says that is because the 401k was never meant to be a sole retirement plan. Even though for Americans, a lot of them, that's all they really have and that's the only vehicle they're using to save and invest money. And that's only one reason. Another reason is when you put your money in a 401k, you actually don't have much control over it. Now, what do I mean by that? The 401k actually is a form of a trust. And for many people that might be thinking about trust for the first time or learning about trust for the first time, there's three parties involved with the trust. There's one known as the grantor, or the person that basically creates it. And in the case of the 401k, that would be the company. And next would be the trustee. So the person that essentially has control over the account. And that would be your Fidelity and Charles Schwab and other investment firms that essentially have control of their account and orchestrate the rules of their account. And lastly, in the structure of a 401k, the beneficiary is you. You're the beneficiary. So you're actually not even the trustee when it comes to a 401k. So that means you don't really have much control over it. You're just the person benefiting from the account. So think about it like this. You're taking all the risk, yet you don't even have control of the account that you're putting in. And there's a 59.5 penalty when you take your money pre-59.5, and you also have income taxes and state taxes that you have to pay when you also take that money out. And that's whether you take it out pre-59.5 or after 59.5. And the main question that you need to be asking yourself, why would you put your money in an account where you don't really have much control over? But many people don't really ask themselves that question. It really makes sense when you're taking advantage of a match, but even using a traditional IRA gives you more control than having a 401k from your company and stuff like that. Because not only does it give you more options in terms of the investment security that you have, you also have more control over your account in the form of an IRA than you do with a 401k. So really, you don't really want to put yourself in the position where you're putting excess money into your 401k, because there are many other alternatives, which I'll get into, where you can put your money that you actually have control over it. Another thing when it comes to add on to the point that I was talking about before, is a massive amount of tax risk that's associated with the 401k. Like I've said in many of my videos, taxes right now are historically low. And if you think about all the things that are going on with the US, the massive debt and things like rising inflation and all this type of things, it's really unlikely they're going to stay like that for long periods of time. No one could predict the future, but you could look at things that happened in the past and make a reasonable prediction. And at the end of the day, the government has control of the tax rates as well. So the government wants to raise the top marginal bracket to say from what is about 38% now to say 50%, they could do that, and along with raise all the other marginal tax rates to increase your taxable income. And to kind of add on to that, with 401ks, you don't pay capital gains tax. You actually pay income taxes. And income tax is the highest tax rate you can pay on any of your money. You pay both federal income taxes and you also pay federal state taxes. So you could have an extremely large tax bill when you decide to take distributions from your 401k. So let's start with some of the alternatives. One of the alternatives is a taxable brokerage account. And many people don't realize when it comes to a taxable brokerage account, there's actually a decent amount of tax benefits that's associated with it, considering you use it the right way. Even having, say, a naked index fund, or having a stock market asset or something like that. Let's say you buy something like Amazon. There's actually a lot of tax benefits if you hold it for the long term. So what do I mean by that? There's a big difference between realized capital gains and unrealized capital gains. If you have a stock like Amazon, which doesn't pay any dividends, interest, or income, if your stock goes from, say, for example, let's just say Amazon is $1,000. Let's say you had Amazon when it was $1,000 and it goes to $2,000. You don't pay taxes on those gains unless you liquidate your assets, or you liquidate your stock market assets. So your stock can continuously grow and grow and grow, and you don't pay taxes unless you liquidate. You only pay taxes on dividends and income. So if you have like an index fund that does pay a dividend, or you have a bond fund that pays a dividend or interest income, then you will get taxed on that. You don't get taxed on unrealized appreciation that you don't liquidate. And if you think about it, if you never really sell, you don't really have to ever pay taxes because there's something known as a stepped up basis, meaning you could pass on those stock market assets or whatever you have. If it's a real estate asset that gets grown incrementally over time, you could pass that on to a beneficiary and not pay taxes on it. And if you really think about it, the wealthiest people use this strategy. They use a strategy known as buy, borrow, die. So they buy assets or they create companies that build a lot of equity, and rather than liquidating the asset, they leverage it because they borrow against these assets because they have such high equity or high net worth related to it. And they use that borrowed money to pay for any types of expenses or whatever things that they would normally buy. And since it's borrowed money, they never have to pay taxes on it because it's never considered income. And then when they pass away, they take advantage of what I just talked about, the stepped up basis, meaning they basically can pass down these assets to the beneficiaries and not pay any taxes on it. But to kind of get on to this point, what I really mean is taxable brokerage accounts actually have a lot of benefits. And another benefit when it comes to it is the benefit if you do end up liquidating, you can liquidate at long-term capital gain rates. Meaning if you hold the stock past a year, you're going to be paying less than income taxes. You pay around 10 to 15% depending on your income and how much money you make. It will vary slightly depending how much money you make. You might get taxed more or less. Versus if you liquidate under a year when you have a stock market asset, now you can basically be paying income taxes on your money. So your highest marginal tax rate is what you're going to be paying if you liquidate under a year. But don't get it wrong, taxable brokerage accounts do have tax benefits if they're used in an appropriate way. And the best tax benefit is basically when you don't liquidate. Obviously, if you never have to liquidate, that's going to give you the best financial outcome. But obviously, people eventually want to be able to use the money and things of that sort. But it could be a good accumulation strategy. And the good thing is there's no 59.5 rule. There's no restrictions in terms of money you can put in your brokerage account. All that money is actually to your access, and you can liquidate it whenever you need. So even though the money isn't guaranteed and it is exposed to market risk, at least you don't get penalized when you take your money, and there is some tax benefits. And then you have your Roth accounts. There's a common misconception that people have with Roth accounts. Roth accounts does have a 59.5 rule, but since you're using after-tax dollars, what you can do with a Roth account is withdraw up to basis. Meaning if you contribute $6,000 to that Roth account, you could actually take that $6,000 from that Roth account without penalty because you already paid taxes on that money. What's going to happen is if it accumulates past a certain point, let's say that $6,000 turns into $7,000 and you liquidate $7,000, now you're going to pay penalty fees on that $1,000 that you made as profit. And as long as you hold the Roth account for at least 5 years, you could access that money tax-free. And that's the benefit of having a Roth account. And obviously, when you get past that age of 59.5, you get all that money, income tax and penalty free. And there's no required minimum distributions like there are 401ks where you have to take out a certain amount of money. And that's the benefit of having a Roth account. It still gives you the access to your money and you still have liquidity to your money. Even though it's a little bit less than, say, a regular brokerage account where you don't even have to worry about any 59.5 restriction when it comes to brokerage account. But there still is some access to your money when it comes to Roth accounts versus when you have a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA, you can get penalized every time when you take it out pre-59.5. And the last alternative that I'm going to mention where you can put your money in or save your money in is cash value life insurance. Because you can accumulate tax-free, you can access it tax-free, and there's no market risk correlated with a life insurance account. It's not meant to replace your investments, but it's just a savings alternative, a place you can put your money outside of market risk so you can take advantage of problems like something breaking down your car or your home, or opportunities you want to invest in some type of business or some sort of venture. And the benefit is none of your money is exposed to market risk, so your cash is there. And a lot of mistakes that people make is they put so much money into variable assets like the stock market, cryptocurrency, that when there is some sort of market crash and they have to use that money for, say, some sort of problem or opportunity they might have, now they have to liquidate their assets at a loss. And that's the advantage of saving money. You don't necessarily have to save money in a bank account where you're getting an average of 0.06%, but you can save your money in a life insurance policy and get an average of 5 to 7% with no market risk correlated to it. And if you set it up properly, it could actually half the time to reach a lot of your financial goals. I just wanted to give a quick spiel on that, on the disadvantages when it comes to a 401k and some of the alternatives you could put your money in rather than locking your money up until 59.5. So I hope you guys found some value out of this video. I make content every single week on different types of financial content and different types of financial concepts in order to reach your goals faster. So if you're interested in this type of content, make sure you follow this channel and subscribe and comment. And I would like to know in the comments, what type of retirement accounts or places do you save your money? And with that, I will see you guys next time, and I will be posting another video next week. Thank you.